Hey, what's going on, guys? Today we're taking a look at the new Sofia. Yes, Sofia is back, and this is the Relax version. So instead of DX, it's RX on here, just for that, I guess. And so she's gotten rid of her armor, gotten rid of all of her weapons and everything, and instead now she's in loungewear and comes with like beer and snacks and a little table and pillows and stuff. I guess I shouldn't say beer. It seems like it's supposed to be like that Strong Zero. It's meant to look like a Strong Zero, which is like a Japanese alcoholic drink. It's sort of like a canned version, like gin tonic, and there's like different flavors and stuff available. I really like it. Whenever I go to Japan, I always enjoy some. It's really, really good, but obviously they couldn't actually put that brand on there in this case just because of like copyright reasons. But anyway, let's go ahead and check out the kit. So anyway, guys, taking a closer look at this box art, we've got Sofia Relax version, and here you can see relaxing with this kind of cute little mini chibi version of that kind of dragon equipment that she had in her original release there, with the pillows, the plant, the beer, the snacks, or again, I keep saying beer, not beer. Anyway, but you guys get the fact that it's her alcoholic drink there. Illustration by Saitom. Here we got the side of the box, a little bit different illustration here of the character, and that little character, I forget what the name is, if it has a name, but going to the bottom of the box there, it's Strange Zero instead of Strong Zero, yeah, for that, and it's 9%. Yeah, one of the reasons to like that drink, it's 9% alcohol rather than your standard like 5 or 6% or whatever it would be if it's just like a can of beer. Anyway, here you got to look at some different poses and things that you can do with this, with the table, the snacks and everything, some of the accessories there. I believe it's including a cell phone as well. If it's relaxing, it's got to have its cell phone, right? So there you go. There's for that. I wonder if we're going to have decals for the screen of the cell phone. If you guys remember that recently in my review of the last Sosai Shoujo Teien kit from Kotobukiya, I was talking about how we should get decals for the phone screen. I believe we may have one in this, as this is a unpainted sample here, and you can see how there's decals on the drinks and the snacks and stuff. I think there's one for the screen. Anyway, I guess we'll find out here in just a moment. As we go around to the other side of the box, here's a look at some of the face options we have for this. So there's quite a few, as you can see, though I don't recall offhand if all of these are included or if you get one that's included and then these are all ones that you have to make with the water slide decals, possibly. But here you can see there's the decal sheet right there, and it looks like that one in the middle is for the cell phone screen. But let's go ahead and pop it open and find out, shall we? So right off the bat, there's those faces, and yeah, it looks to be like, unfortunately, we just have the one fully pre-printed face, and the other ones we're going to have to stick the eyes on. The mouths are printed, like the mouths and the teeth, those are printed there and painted, I guess pre-painted I should say, but the eyes aren't on there, so you have to put the eyes on yourself. Some other pre-painted pieces here for the pants, and there's a couple of parts there around runner E2 there for the feet. But not to get too ahead of ourselves, I want to just take a look here at the instruction manual, and then we'll take a look at the decals as well. So here's the front of the instruction manual, and this is what we saw on the side of the box, cropped like that, but here's the full version of that illustration. On the back side, just the box art from the front. On the inside, here's our parts list, and it looks to be like everything's going to be in full color, which is really nice. After the parts list, then just gets into the construction, and it's going to be a fairly simple kit, so not too lengthy of a construction process here for this one. At the end, here is a color guide for us right there, and sample images so you can see kind of where everything goes. Decal guide here for the faces, for the snacks, so you can put the decals on the snacks and on the drink can and everything. Decal guide for some of the other decals that go around on the body here and there and everywhere. And yeah, there's the one for the screen. Awesome. If we take a look at that, here you can see all those eye decals, decals around for the body, decals for like the blushing cheeks or different facial expressions you can make with some of these decals. Decals for the products, the phone screen there. The screen obviously meant to look like it's using the Line app, a popular chatting application there in Japan. Starting off with the runners, here is our BS03 base runner for the base, and then some connection parts there for a clear arm for that. Then runners S and W, technically, these are just going to be all of our hand options, giving us a lot of different option parts for holding hands, including cool option parts here for having the fingers crossed. You have to connect the hands both together. And then we've got some standard open hands, open resting hands, closed fists here, pointing hands, more holding hands, more open expressive hands there, all in flesh tone. And quite a lot more flesh tone parts here, starting off with runner J001 for our joint parts. Then runner B is going to be for some parts there for the body, for the thighs. Runner C, here is some parts there for in the head, shoulders, knees. Runner D, some more parts for the body and arms there, it looks like. And runner E is going to be some parts here for the legs. Runners F and H are in a kind of pale yellow color, mostly parts for the hair, and then parts here for the pillow as well. Runner I is going to be some parts here in black for the clothing, it looks like mostly. Runner J, some accent parts here in red. Runner K is in a dark molded silver for some of the parts for the little guy. Also, you've got your cans on here. These are the parts for like the chip bag here as well. And then last but not least here, runner L seems to be mostly parts for the table. Interestingly, not in like brown or something as you might expect, but it's in like a very dark gray, basically black color for those. So a bit disappointing. I think the table would look nicer in brown as it does on the box art for this. But anyway, let's go ahead and get it all put together. Alright guys, so here's Sofia all built up, and where this kit is really going to shine, it is not really necessarily from the base kit, which is nice, but it's just going to be very simple, of course. It's just going to be the fun that you can have with the different accessories and things with this kit, and just the uniqueness of this kit just in its style and kind of what we have with this, how this is essentially not something that we've ever really seen as far as any other Mecha Musume kits, of which there's many now, from the Dark Eye event line itself, and then we also have, Kotobukiya's, Bandai's, Alphamax, MS General, ATK Girl. There's a lot of different Mecha Musume model kit lines out there now, and this one is just a really unique release amongst all that, so if that's what you're looking for, I think you guys will definitely be happy with this. But let's go ahead and take a closer look at this. Let's take a look at the main body here. First, all the points of articulation are going to be the same. If you ever built any other Megami device or Frame Arms Girl, 30-Minute Sisters, any kind of Mecha Musume kit, the articulation is going to be generally the same as all those. You have a nice point of articulation here between the top and bottom half of the torso. You have nice joints in the arms and legs, which will allow you to get pretty much any pose that you might want out of the kit, which is very nice. And then as far as the seam lines go, you have all the typical seam lines again on a kit like this. Here on the upper arm, on the legs, you have seam lines here on the parts of the legs, up here on the top of the thigh. So all the typical kind of pros and cons of a standard Mecha Musume plastic model kit here. But the design overall really nice, and just again kind of quite unique for this one, so that's one thing that I do really appreciate about that. Let's go ahead and get into some of the accessories. And starting off at the top, of course, we have all the different face parts, but I don't want to put any of the waterside decals on the eyes yet without like actually fully painting the kit. So for the purposes of this review, unfortunately, I'm just going to have to just stick with this one face. It really is kind of disappointing that they only pre-printed the eyes on one of the faces, even though they painted the teeth and the mouth on these other faces. For the eyes, unfortunately, you'll just have to use the waterside decals. And then for the hair, you have a different option part there for the front, where kind of the bangs are pinned up here with this hairpin, and that's about your only option really for the hair. Going down here to the chest, you have an option part which looks almost the same. The only difference is that these parts that hang off the side are actually connected underneath the chest part right there. So if you didn't want to have these parts hanging on the side, then you can swap out this chest piece, which doesn't have that connection point right under there, and that's basically the only difference between those. And then we've got all of our different hand option parts. As you can see here, you've got like open resting hands and these like sort of partially open hands like that. And all the hand option parts we have, both for the left and the right side, you have open expressive hands. You have these kind of like holding and or pointing hands like so. You have different holding hands, which I don't think there's anything included with this that you could really hold with these, but if you wanted to have this holding onto a weapon or something like that from a different set, you could use those. Then you have these hands, which look, it's like kind of pointing and or touching something. These would probably work really well for touching the included cell phone accessory, just to make it look like she's like touching the phone. And then we've got your just kind of standard closed fists here as well. Then you got a hand here with a circle peg in it. Now this I think is just for holding on to this little guy for our little kind of robot dragon kind of looking guy here. And as well, we've got this out, the mouth opens up, the head moves up and down. You can also turn the head. The little arm wings here are just on little ball joints. And he's got his kind of like feet and little tail bit right there. But this you can plug onto an action base, and we'll get to the stand here for this in a moment. But if you wanted to have this held in our hands, this hand part there is for that. And then we've got a can holding hand. Now for our cans, we've got these with holes in it that will just fit into here, and that's gonna look like that. Now for the cans, we have two tall ones and 2 short ones, and you've got basically between your 2 tall ones, one of them has a hole in it and one of them doesn't. So if you wanted to have this just on the table or something and not actually held in the hand, you use the one without the hole in it. And the same thing goes for the smaller can size. There's a look at the 2 of those kind of compared. Again, you got one with a hole and one without. Lastly, for our hand options, we've got these where the hands are connected like that, where the fingers are interlocked, and so you'd have to plug both arms into here at the same time, but that should be a fun one to use. And then you do also have 2 of these, one for each wrist if you wanted to have like this hairband around the wrist. That said, it's got the hairbands up here in the hair, so I think it looks kind of weird to have hairbands in the hair and on the wrist at the same time, but you can do that if you want. Moving down here to the legs, you've got an option part for the top of the thigh if you want to have it just bare or have it with these kind of straps on it. And one thing that I think would have also been nice for the feet is to have a set of feet that have like slippers on, or just like slippers that you can put over the top of the feet or something. I think it probably would have had to been a separate foot for it to look proper, but that would have really been nice, I think, for this set to have that as an accessory as well, just for something down, for an accessory for the feet there. Another accessory we've got here is the cell phone, which is just here in silver. It's flat on the one side just to show obviously that's the screen side, and then on the back side you do have like a little camera detail there. And although it's going to be pretty small and kind of difficult to see, you do have like a molded detail of like buttons on the side as well, but your mold line also runs through there, so if you want to try to sand that to get rid of the mold line, you're probably going to sand those buttons right off. And then we've also got our chip bag, which is open. Unfortunately, we don't have a version of this which is closed, so you just have the open chip bag and chips. So you have this one part which is just like a pile of chips like that, and then you have some smaller separate chip parts here. There's kind of 1, 2, 3, 4 little smaller chip pieces that you can use for just kind of having those scattered on the table or in your hand or something like that. Again, just like with the cans and the cell phone, this of course is going to look so much better once you actually put the waterside decals on there to cover it, and then you've got the actual design on there, but it's a cool accessory. Last couple accessories then are just going to be the pillow, which is just meant to be flat, and you can see it's already got kind of the indentation where the character is supposed to sit on that. So if you didn't have the character sitting on this, it's probably going to look a bit weird, I guess, but that's pretty nice. It's just 2 pieces sandwiched together like that. And then the table, which, as I said, I'm a little bit disappointed that this is not molded in brown, but it's a pretty simple just table which you can use and it should work. It should be tall enough that you can have her sitting with like her legs underneath it and then sitting on the pillow. Everything should work pretty well. We'll try out a couple of poses here in just a moment. Last thing though is of course that we have a stand here for this, which has a few points of articulation and a few different type of connection pieces that you can use for that. I've also got the longer arms on this. You do also have shorter connection arms for this if you wanted. This is the attachment piece right there. You've also got a separate little stand here for our little dragon guy, which can be connected onto there, and it's just got a little ball joint. You can also attach this onto the main stand if you wanted to as well, if you wanted to have this up higher, because this stand is obviously going to be pretty short, so this is just going to be for near the ground. But if you want to have it higher up, you can connect it onto the longer arm of the main stand up there as well. But there you have it, guys. So a lot of really interesting accessories here for this set. As I mentioned, I think that I really like this set just for its uniqueness. We've never really had a model kit quite like this in all the different kinds of Mecha Musume type of model kits that we've had before. They've always got, you know, like weapons and they're going into combat or something like that, or they're just schoolgirls. We don't really have one that's quite like this style with like snacks and drinks and stuff. I guess probably the closest thing would be Kotobuki's Sosai Shoujo Teian line, but obviously we don't have one in quite this dress. And I don't think that Kotobuki will be making one quite like this in that particular line. I think that might not be a very good idea for that line, but this as a set is pretty fun. If you're not going to put the waterside decals on there, it is going to be pretty plain, but it's nice that you have the decals for the different eye, different face options, because it's nice that we have a lot of great face options. It's just you're just going to have to use the watersides on those. And if you're planning on painting, you know, you're going to want to wait to do that. But then the decals, like I said, for the cans, for the chip bag, for the cell phone, it's nice that you have all the decals for that. So once those are painted, and or if you just want to put the decals on there without fully painting it, it's definitely going to make the accessories for this look a lot nicer. And that's gonna be one of the main things with this. Of course, you got the main body itself, but then I think another big draw of this kit is just going to be all the accessories, just again because they're quite unique to have like essentially beer cans, alcohol cans. They're certainly style styled to look like Strong Zero. And the chips and the chip bag and the cell phone, I think everything's kind of interesting and fun with this kit. And so if you guys want to check it out, or any of the different kits in the line or similar type kits, you can check them out at USA Gundam Store. The link, as always, will be down in the video description below. And I just want to end this review with a little bit of a theory as to how this kit came to be. And you guys can maybe let me know if you might find any logic in my reasoning at all or not. But if you guys picked up the third release in this line from Alphamax, the ISIS, some of you may recall that that kit was delayed for a long time. And I'm kind of wondering if maybe one of the reasons why the kit was delayed is because the company ran out of money, essentially, for finishing the production of that kit. And in order to get some more money, if you guys recall, this kit was actually announced and went up for pre-order before the ISIS kit came out. So I think that this was maybe just like something that they could put out very quickly and easily in order to just, get some more cash on hand in order to actually finish the ISIS kit and get that out. And so I think that may be part of the reason as to why we actually got this kit in the first place. But hey, at the end of the day, I'm not complaining. It's a fun kit, and I hope that they'll make some more like this in the future for the other releases in the line. Make relaxed versions of the other two characters that we've got out in the line so far, and then maybe for other ones in the future. But I do enjoy these model kits from Alphamax. Let me know your guys' thoughts down in the comment section below. What do you think about these series of kits? If you guys are interested, you probably haven't made it to this point in the review if you're not interested in this type of kit, but let me know what you guys think about this series in the comment section below. And if you would also like to like and or subscribe while you're here, that'd be greatly appreciated. I really appreciate all your guys' support. Thank you so much. Until next time, have a great day. Bye guys.